Good morning, students. Welcome to the online classes of Triveni Memorial Senior Secondary School. Today we will start the next chapter for class 8 English reader. We have already started the second unit of this book, and the name of the unit was Presence of Mind. The first section was Clump of Lilac. The second one was Prithviraj Chauhan, first part. Now we will continue the chapter Prithviraj Chauhan, the second part. Now we will start from part 3 here. The day of Sanyogiता Swayamvar dawns and many kings present themselves on the occasion. Sanyogiता, holding a garland of flowers, slowly makes her way past of all of them, not selecting anyone, till she comes to the statue of Prithviraj Chauhan at the entrance. She poses there. Now, as we read in the last chapter, that it was the Swayamvar of Sanyogita, and Jayachand, to insult Prithviraj Chauhan, put a statue on the entrance gate. Now, when the day comes for Swayamvar, Sanyogita have a garland in her hands, and she just moves slowly towards the statue of Prithviraj Chauhan and stops there. Now, Sanyogita talking to herself. This is the image of my beloved Prithviraj Chauhan, whom I have already accepted as my husband. Let me garland him. Now she is ready to garland him. She places the garland around the neck of the image while all those present look on in amazement. In that instant, there is the sound of a galloping horse, and Prithviraj Chauhan appears. And she suddenly puts garland in the statue of Prithviraj Chauhan's neck. Now, everyone was amazed to see what happened. And during that course of time, Prithviraj Chauhan enters with his horse. Now Prithviraj Chauhan says, Jayachand, Sanyogita has placed the garland around the neck of my image, and hence she is now my wife. I have the right to take her away with me. If any of the kings is bold enough, let him try to stop me from doing so. Now Prithviraj Chauhan says, as Sanyogita had kept the garland in his statue's neck, she is now his wife. So he says, now she is my wife, and I will be going to take her with me. And if anybody dares to stop me, he or she will have to pay for that. Saying this, he lifts Sanyogita onto his horse and races away. Those who come in his way and try to stop him are compelled to retreat. Now he takes over Sanyogita to his horse, and then he starts moving from there. And whoever comes in between has to be retreated. Now, Jayachand, seething with anger, it is not good that Prithviraj Chauhan has humiliated me in full view of everyone in the court. I will go to any length to avenge this insult. He has to pay a very heavy penalty for this. Now Jayachand was very angry for getting humiliated by Prithviraj Chauhan in such a manner, and even his daughter Sanyogita also helped Prithviraj in doing so. Now the Commander-in-Chief of Jayachand says, begging your pardon, Maharaj, but we can't confront him without a strong ally. Now the Commander-in-Chief tells him that we are unable to cope with Prithviraj Chauhan alone. Jayachand says, there is someone who can assist us in this task, and that is Muhammad Ghori, Sultan of Ghor. I will form an alliance with Ghori in this endeavor, and together we will defeat Prithviraj Chauhan. I will then become the ruler of Delhi. Minister, make arrangements to convey my proposal to Ghori as quickly as possible. Now, Jayachand knew that Ghori once attacked Prithviraj Chauhan and was defeated, but Prithviraj Chauhan pardoned him. Now, Jayachand says that we can get help from Muhammad Ghori, and he too will be happy to help us. So, make arrangements and convey my message to Muhammad Ghori. A messenger is accordingly sent to the court of Muhammad Ghori with an offer. Messenger to Muhammad Ghori now. Sultan, the king of Kannauj, Maharaj Jayachand, wishes to extend a hand of friendship towards you. If you invade Delhi and attack Prithviraj Chauhan, our troops will give you full support in the battle. You can have all the wealth of Delhi while Maharaj Jayachand will seat himself on its throne. Now, what the message is, messenger tells that that Jayachand will be helping you in attacking Prithviraj Chauhan, and Muhammad can take all the wealth with him from Delhi, but Maharaj Jayachand will be sitting on the throne of Delhi. Muhammad Ghori, he was very pleased, he enjoyed that. and says, "Please convey to King Jachan that we accept his offer. Let him start the preparations to advance with his army upon Delhi." Now he's happy and he's agreed to attack Prithviraj Chauhan along with Jachan. The Sultan is delighted with this wonderful opportunity to get back at his arch enemy. Now Muhammad was very happy that he can attack Prithviraj Chauhan in a better manner as compared to the last time. Now Muhammad Ghori. No matter how strong a person may be, treason renders everyone weak. It is the rift between these two that will be the road to my success. Having defeated Prithviraj, all the riches of Delhi will be mine. Laughs in anticipation of the joy that awaits him. Now Muhammad Ghori, what he says, no matter how a person is powerful, treason may defeat anybody. Treason is betraying someone. Now here Jachan is betraying his Rajput king, his countryman. So as he betrayed him, Prithviraj can be defeated. He says that the rift between the two Rajput kings will help him in victory, in helping him to take the treasure from Delhi. Now, Ghori and Jachan together lead a huge army to attack Prithviraj Chauhan. The immensity of the forces seems to engulf Delhi. Now they both attack Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan's spy. Maharaj, we have received information that Ghori and the ruler of Kannauj, Jachan, have entered into a pact and are moving to Delhi. Now one of Prithviraj Chauhan's spy tells him that both the armies of Jachan and Muhammad Ghori together are attacking us. Now Prithviraj Chauhan says, is that so? Jachan has formed an alliance with Ghori. Jachan has betrayed us. An outsider can still be pardoned for treason, but not someone who is one of us. Never. Go and prepare for battle. Now Prithviraj Chauhan was angry on Jachan more than the ruler of God, that is Muhammad Ghori. As Prithviraj Chauhan considered Jachan was one of us and still he betrayed us. So that is more punishable as compared to Muhammad Ghori's mistake. Now Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori face each other on the battlefield once more. But this time Prithviraj Chauhan is defeated and taken prisoner. Now this time once again the battle was fought, but this time because there were two large armies of Muhammad Ghori and Jachan, Prithviraj Chauhan this time is defeated and he is a prisoner now. Now Muhammad Ghori, the valiant Prithviraj Chauhan, whose very name strikes terror in people's hearts, now stands before me, a prisoner in fetters. Now Muhammad Ghori is very much enjoying this instance that Prithviraj Chauhan, that is glorified all around the world, is now his prisoner. Now Jachan, Ghori, I have kept my word and now it is your turn to do so by installing me as the ruler of Delhi. Now Jachan asks that he must be installed as the ruler of Delhi, as he kept the promise of helping Muhammad in defeating Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad Ghori says, Jachan, it would have been impossible to defeat Prithviraj Chauhan without your assistance, and you will certainly be suitably rewarded. Soldiers, handcuff this traitor, bind him in chains. Now Muhammad Ghori says that yes, I agree that it would have been impossible for me to defeat Prithviraj Chauhan. It was only because of you, and says you will be rewarded accordingly, and asks his soldiers to handcuff him and bind him in chains. Now Jachan was shocked. What is happening? What is this that you say? You know that you have achieved this victory only due to my support, and you can't now betray me like this. Now Jachan is shocked and says that you can't do that because I helped you. Muhammad Ghori, Jachan, do you not understand that my victory was due to your disunity and treachery? Here this one is betraying with your own country, with your own fellows, your friends, your countrymen. Whosoever betrays his own country will never hesitate to betray me either. Soldiers, behead this man and display it in the public square with the words, traitor Jachan. Now he says that you are the betrayer. If you can betray your own country, you can betray me in the future also. So he asks soldiers to behead him. Behead is taking off head from the rest of the body. That means killing someone, executing someone. And says that display his head in the public square and just write below it, traitor Jachan. Now Gauri has Jaichand executed in the city square and seizes all the riches of Delhi. Now he seizes all the treasure from the Delhi, loots all the treasure from the Delhi. Now part number 4. Muhammad Gauri says, well, the emperor of Delhi, Prithviraj Chauhan, now stands before me, a captive, bound and fettered, laughs mockingly. Prithviraj, I too am willing to grant pardon to you if you agree to remain my vassal. Now Muhammad Gauri was very amused, as I told you, and he says that that's very well. Emperor of Delhi, Prithviraj Chauhan is my prisoner now. I can also pardon you if only if you agree to be my vassal. Vassal here is someone working for the other person, like working like a slave. Now Prithviraj Chauhan, in anger, my name is Prithviraj Chauhan. It is better for me to embrace that than to be a vassal. Now Prithviraj Chauhan denies the offer and says that his name is Prithviraj Chauhan and he would better die instead of accepting the vassal. Muhammad Gauri, now he was furious. You stand before me as a prisoner and yet dare to look at me. Lower these eyes of yours that have the audacity to glare at me. Now Muhammad Gauri was furious as Prithviraj Chauhan was staring him continuously with the red hot eyes and asked him to lower down the eyes. Prithviraj Chauhan, do you not know that I am a Rajput? The eyes of a Rajput are lowered only after death. Now he says, I am a Rajput and my eyes will only be lowered when I am dead. Now Muhammad Gauri says, guards, bring in red hot iron rods and blind these eyes that are dark, that dare to look upon me. Now he orders his guards to blind Prithviraj Chauhan by using red hot iron rods. Okay, now soldiers come in and as commanded, Prithviraj Chauhan is blinded with red hot iron rods. Now Muhammad Gauri, we shall execute him but not so fast or so easily. Take him away to the dungeons. He must be punished for his insolence. Prithviraj's friend and court poet Chand Bardai is consumed with anxiety for his friend. Upon hearing the tragic tale, he comes to Gauri's court in an attempt to save his friend's life. Now Muhammad Gauri thinks of executing him but says, I won't be executing him very fast. Just keeps him in the prison and punishes him for, according to him, for his insolence, that is not obeying Muhammad Gauri's orders, not following them. Now Prithviraj Chauhan's friend, as we read in the first part of the chapter, Chand Bardai, the court poet, and also Prithviraj Chauhan's beloved friend, when he came to know about the issue, he tried to save his friend's life and he moves to Muhammad Gauri's court. Now, Chand Bardai says, Muhammad Gauri, you have blinded and imprisoned Prithviraj Chauhan. Have you forgotten that this same man gave you the gift of forgiveness when you begged him? Now Chand Bardai tries to remind Muhammad Gauri the past, that he was pardoned by Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad Gauri, now he was also angry and says, have you come here to plead on Prithviraj's behalf? Guards, capture him and throw him into the dungeons with his friend. Now Muhammad Gauri was furious about Chand Bardai saying so and orders his guards to take him to the dungeons along with Prithviraj Chauhan. Now, in prison, Chand Bardai is heartbroken at seeing the pitiable condition of his friend and embraces him lovingly. In prison, he sees the condition of Prithviraj Chauhan and he was very ashamed of what happened actually. He was heartbroken. Prithviraj Chauhan, my loyal friend, I have committed the greatest blunder in granting pardon to Gauri. Even now, if I were offered just one chance, I can vanquish him. Now Prithviraj Chauhan says, I'm sorry friend, I didn't listen to you and I pardoned Gauri, and this is the most blunder mistake, most you can say greatest blunder here means most important. It was to execute Gauri when you said, and I didn't follow what you said, and you were my well-wisher. So it was the greatest blunder he done. So even now, he says even now if he get the chance to execute Gauri, he will do that. Very soon such a chance presents itself to Prithviraj. Now Prithviraj, as he was thinking about, he got the chance. What is the chance? Let's check out. Guard chatting with a few other guards outside the prison. The news is that the Sultan is organizing an archery contest in which many accomplished archers will participate. Now, a few guards were chatting together and they were chatting that the Sultan, that is Muhammad Ghori, is organizing an archery contest, and there are a few archers that may be coming from outside. Upon hearing this, there is great tumult in Chand Bardai's mind. Now Chand Bardai got the news and he starts running his mind. Chand Bardai was very happy and said, "Did you hear that, my dear friend? Ghori is organizing an archery contest. You can participate in it as well. With your skill in shooting, just by listening to sounds, you can defeat Ghori. Wait and see how Ghori falls into our trap. We must not let this opportunity slip through our hands." Now Chand Bardai was very happy and he tells that to Prithviraj and says that the time has come, and did you listen? There is an archery contest and you got the skill of shooting just by listening to the sound. Now Ghori will be defeated and you will defeat him once again, and Ghori will be falling in our trap, that's for sure. And says we won't be letting this opportunity out of our hands. Now Chand Bardai summoning the guard, means telling the guard, "I have something to say to the Sultan regarding the archery contest. Please deliver this message to him quickly." Now he says he wants to meet Sultan regarding the archery contest. Upon receiving the permission of the Sultan, Chand Bardai is produced in the royal court. Chand Bardai, "Sultan, my friend Prithviraj Chauhan also wishes to participate in the archery tournament." Now he tells Sultan that Prithviraj Chauhan also wants to participate in the contest. Muhammad Ghori says, "What? A blind man to attempt archery? Ha ha ha." Now he laughed at Chand Bardai's request that a blind man cannot, because he thought a blind man cannot participate in an archery tournament. Muhammad Ghori was laughing. Chand Bardai, "But you have seen nothing of this skill of Prithviraj. He can shoot a target in spite of being blind. He can aim an arrow just by listening to a sound." Now Chand Bardai tells about the skill of Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad Ghori says, "Impossible." Chand Bardai says, "Just give me a chance and see for yourself." Muhammad Ghori says, "Very well, let us witness this, and if he fails to do so, you will be killed." Chand Bardai says, "I accept," and he is taken back to the prison. Chand Bardai to Prithviraj Chauhan, "Now Maharaj, you have this wonderful opportunity to destroy Ghori at the contest. Instead of shooting your arrow at the disc, make Ghori the target of your aim." Now Chand Bardai tells, "You have to target Muhammad Ghori instead of targeting the other aim." Prithviraj Chauhan says, "But how will I know where Ghori is sitting?" Now Chand Bardai says, "I will recite a couplet." Couplet are few words, few lines. Couplet through which I will indicate where Ghori is sitting. Now he says, "I'll recite a couplet and I'll tell you where Ghori is sitting. I'll tell you the exact position. Shoot the arrow in the direction suggested by my words." Now, having devised a plan in this manner, Prithviraj Chauhan and Chand Bardai enter the venue of tournament. Now they enter the tournament. Chand Bardai says, "Sultan, Prithviraj will focus his aim on the disc after listening to its sound. But you must thrice give the command to shoot. It is only then that he will let loose his arrow." Now Chand Bardai tells Sultan that Prithviraj will be doing so, but you have to give the order thrice yourself, and he will do that. Now Prithviraj stands ready with a bow and arrow. As he prepares to shoot, Chand Bardai begins to chant a couplet. Now Prithviraj is ready with his bow and arrow, and now Chand Bardai is ready with his couplet, and what he says, "चार बांस 24 गज अंगुल अष्ट प्रमाण, ता ऊपर सुल्तान है मत चूके चौहान." Now Sultan sits above at a distance of 4 bamboo, 4 बांस, bamboo poles, 24 yards, 24 gaj, and the width of 8 fingers precisely. Angul Asht 8 Praman. Do not miss your target, Chauhan. ताऊ पर सुल्तान है मत चूके चौहान. Do not miss your target, Chauhan. Now Muhammad Ghori says, "Prithviraj, I command you, mark your aim, shoot the target. Prithviraj, I command you, mark your aim, shoot the target. Prithviraj, I command you, mark your aim, shoot the target." Now he orders him thrice After listening to the couplet and honing in on Gauri's voice, Prithviraj shoots Gauri right through his heart. Prithviraj Chauhan says, I have avenged my defeat, Muhammad Gauri. You have been vanquished once more. Now, listening to Muhammad Gauri's sound, Prithviraj Chauhan just shoots Gauri right through his heart and says, I have defeated you once again. Now, death is far better than humiliation. It is better to die an honorable death than to die in the hands of an enemy. Now he says, I won't be dying in the hands of enemy. I will be better dying myself. Acting according to their plan, Prithviraj and Chand Bardai plunged swords into each other's bodies and died. Now both Prithviraj Chauhan and Chand Bardai plunged swords into each other and they both died. Now the chapter is completed. In the reading portion, we will be starting the exercise. First one, read and answer. Question 1. How does Muhammad reward Jaichand? What explanation does he give? Muhammad ordered his soldiers to behead Jaichand and Jaichand was a traitor to his country and could have betrayed him as well. This was the reason. Question number 2. What offer does Muhammad have for Prithviraj? Does Prithviraj accept it? Why does he do so? Muhammad offered Prithviraj to become his vassal. Prithviraj refused the offer as he was the king of India and the Rajput is ready to die rather than accepting such thing. Next question. Question number 3. What skill had Prithviraj mastered? How did it help him? Prithviraj had mastered the skill of shooting just by listening to the sound, as we read in the chapter. With the help of this skill, he was able to shoot the arrow right through Muhammad's heart. Now the next question. How does Chand Bardai help Prithviraj to know where Muhammad was sitting? Chand Bardai recited a couplet telling the exact position of Muhammad and also urged Muhammad to order the shoot thrice. Moving on to the next part, that is think and answer. Question number 1. An outsider can still be pardoned for treason but not someone who is one of us. Why does Prithviraj say this? Because he got the information that Jaichand and Muhammad Gauri had become allied and will attack him together. Jaichand had betrayed the country. Who was Prithviraj's well-wisher? Give reasons for your choice. Chand Bardai, the court poet, was Prithviraj's well-wisher, as he warned him about Muhammad and also helped Prithviraj in killing Muhammad. Now this question, I will keep this for you as a homework. After reading the lesson, write a short note on character sketch of Prithviraj Chauhan. So that's it from the chapter. Now section 3 of unit 2 English Reader class 8 is completed. The name of the section 3 was Prithviraj Chauhan 2. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.